Turn the lights back on. Wow. Retro electro tech. When real audio ruled the world.
Howdy there, all you handsome hound doggies and pretty kitties. This is Retro Ernest of Retro Electro Tech, and I have here on the bench the famous Marantz model 2270, and this was produced, I believe, in 1971, and I think it had a production run of a handful of years or so, and it comes stepping into the ring nice and proud at 70 watts into 8 ohms, THD of 0.3%, and a frequency response of 7 hertz to, I believe, 50K. And anyways, my customer is the original owner of this unit, by the way, and he indicated to me that first of all, there's a couple things going on with this unit that he's aware of. The big chief complaint is no output, zero, zilch, nada. He said he did power it up, and fortunately it wasn't making any scary noises. It wasn't letting out any smoke, anything like that. So that's a good thing. Obviously, we will power it up safely on the current limiter because you never know when something is going to fail. So we'll do that in just a moment here. And also to the dial indicator here, I believe you can see that. There's nothing going on, no moving, no grooving. So he said that he had the cover off, and he didn't notice anything with the dial string being severed or anything like that. It didn't appear that it jumped the tracks and was off the pulleys or anything. So maybe the string is a bit loose. Sometimes they loosen up over time and overstretch a little bit. And also to the tuning assembly, there's some gears and other mechanisms that sometimes need to be cleaned and re-lubricated slightly just to get things. And sometimes the track that the dial indicator slides across, sometimes that gets a bit gunky and dirty. So there could be several factors there, but obviously I will evaluate that. That's not really my priority at the moment. My priority is just safe power up. I want to see why this thing isn't outputting and see what's going on, get a signal into it and go from there. And otherwise, let me go ahead and spin her around on the Lazy Susan here. And if your name is Susan, I'm not trying to offend you. I'm not trying to call you lazy, but hey, it is what it is, right? So let me, let me zoom in on this. This is really cool. I noticed this when the customer brought it in, and he is the original owner. So this is an old school OG retro sticker from the place he purchased it, Warehouse Sound Company, San Luis Obispo, California. So yeah, my old stomping grounds. Not so much San Luis Obispo, but California. So anyways, yeah, very cool, man. What a nice retro sticker, huh? So anyways, let me go ahead and reposition things here. Let's swing around to the back. And I actually feel pretty good today because the last few days it's been nice and warm. The sun's been out. I've been soaking up sun like a lizard, and I'm getting some color back so I don't look like a dead zombie or anything. And yeah, feeling good. So anyways, let's go ahead and scope out the back a little bit. And do you see what I see? Let me go ahead and zoom in on this here. Oh boy. So, no output, huh? So you see what I see, obviously, and the preamp out to the preamp to the main amp in is not jumpered. The jumpers are removed. So that would do it. Now, when I get this thing powered up, if it passes the safe power up test, then I will go ahead and jumper that, of course, obviously. And I already loosened up the cover. Now I haven't popped the cover off yet. When I lift it, it's going to be the first time that I do. But let me get this cord situated here. So anyway, I will do that, and if it powers up safely, like I said, I will go ahead and jumper the preamp out to the main amp, and we'll see, and we'll put a signal into it and see if there is some sound, and then go from there, because I indicated to the customer that, you know, I'm not going to know the full extent of what's going on until I obviously pop the hood and do a little bit of a preliminary testing. So that I'm going to do, and I will be able to let the customer know what's going on. I'm hoping that that's the only problem there as far as you know, the output issue is concerned. I mean, that obviously would cause that problem, but anyways, because he said it was dead silent, and yeah, no wonder. So let's go ahead and get this thing on the current limiter and go from there, and then I could let him know what he's up against, and you know what things are going to cost, and whether or not he's going to yay or nay the the work at hand, and that needs to be done. And of course, you know, with a receiver this age, you know, there's going to be a need to recap and all that. I don't know how far the customer is willing to go, but at the very least, let's go ahead and suss out the main problem of no output. And then, you know, I'm not, like I said, I'm not worried about the dial indicator. That's last. So let's go ahead and move forward. Okay, and here are the innards, and yeah, it's pretty dirty. I mean, as expected, not a surprise there. You can see all the years of accumulation. You see all the fuzz, and everything's nice and filthy. So depending on how I proceed with this, I mean, I'm sure I'm going to do some work on it. I just don't know to what extent. It's going to depend on what the customer wants to do, how far he wants to go. Now, as I always say, guys, at the very least, even if, you know, budget is a little bit tighter as far as electrolytic recapping is concerned, at the very least, the power supply section and the main amp section should be recapped. You know, the areas that you know, receive more wear and tear, electrically speaking. I brought this out before. In other words, the heart of the unit, the power supply being the heart of the unit, and of course the main amp sections that need to be done. That's highly recommended. If the whole thing could be recapped, great, but I will cross that bridge with the customer as I determine what's going on with that chief complaint of no output. So let's do that. And by the way, yeah, let me kind of zoom in on this as well. The dial cord, as you can see, is intact. Okay, let me back out a little bit so that's not so blurry. Yeah, it's all intact. Let me see. Sometimes, yeah, this feels a little bit sticky. Not too bad, but you can see. Let me see. Yeah, if you notice on my thumb there's some old lubricant. It feels like it's kind of a little bit sticky there. So it could very well be that this all needs to be cleaned out. And let me. Yeah, that looks kind of a little bit. Let me see. Yeah, I'll get everything cleaned up real nice, obviously, and Yeah, everything appears, let me kind of kneel down here a little bit and take a look underneath here. Yeah, everything is intact. Everything is on the pulleys. If I look underneath here and whatnot, everything appears to be intact as far as the string dial cord is concerned. And let me just see. Yeah, I'm just gonna, just for now, I'm gonna put these back in here just so they don't get misplaced. I hate when screws get misplaced. So anyways, okay, so yeah, as you can see here, everything is intact once again. Everything looks good. Yep. Yeah, this dial cord is a little bit loose. You can kind of see it's not as taut as, I mean, it's not horrible, but it's definitely a bit on the loose side. And let me, yeah, this feels a little bit stiff. I'll get all this all cleaned out, re-lubricated and whatnot, just slightly, very slightly, and tighten up this cord a little bit, and I'm sure everything will be just fine. So anyways, let's get this thing powered up now. Okay, ladies and gents, here we are at the current limiter. We're plugged in, and for those of you not too familiar with the function of a current limiter, the simple explanation, and really that's all that's required, it does exactly what its name implies, and that is it limits current to the receiver here. Let me go ahead and get that back into view. Okay. All right. Now, if something was to fail catastrophically, we had a dead short take place, there's going to be a surge of current, and it will take out whatever is in its path if it's a significant failure. And we don't want anything taken out, but especially the power transformer, this big chunk of iron here, because we have the ability to avoid such a failure. So we want to be mindful of that. We want to be cautious. If we were to take out the power transformer, because of course, if something fails really catastrophically, it's going to be in this power supply section where most of the current takes place, okay? The big current draw. And, sure, a cap could go away anywhere in this receiver and cause damage to other components on a board or whatever. A transistor can go as well, short out and cause problems. But if something was to catastrophically fail in the power supply, especially one of these big caps or something, that would not be good. If it was a catastrophic failure, a dead short, we would risk, again, taking out the power transformer. Now, there's a possibility, sure, you can find another one on the auction site. It would be tough. They don't come up very often, or maybe a surplus site. But again, unless somebody pulls one from a donor unit, a parts unit, and parts one out with a good transformer in it, this is not going to be an easy thing to source. So we want to, at all cost, prevent that from happening. So let's go ahead and move back up to our current limiter, which is just for that purpose. It's going to limit the current draw of this receiver. Should something start to fail, try to fail, you're going to see that bulb light up really bright, and that's when we'd want to shut everything down, because that's an indicator that we're drawing heavy current, that there's a short situation, a fault situation going on. So let me go ahead and shut this off. One thing I will say is that when I turn on everything, you're going to initially see the bulb come up bright and then drop back down, and it should just be lit up very dimly, hence dim bulb tester. So that's another name for this, current limiter, dim bulb tester. But anyways, but it shouldn't stay brightly lit is the point. If so, we have a problem. So we can gauge the health of this receiver if something's going on, drawing heavy current, by monitoring that bulb there. And it should just have a really dim glow to it. It might appear a little brighter on camera because of the way the camera handles that exposure, but we'll see. Anyways, let me go ahead and start off by kicking in the small bulb here, this 40 watt bulb. And what I'm going to do is just let it sit for a while and you know, see how well it does, and then I'll move on to other stuff. So let's go ahead and get this thing kicked on. Okay, so there's that initial flash there, and now it has come down nice and dim. Okay, and that's what we want. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just let this sit for a while. Our relay just kicked in too. I don't know if you heard it, but I did. The relay clicked in. That's a really good sign. I was curious as to whether or not the relay was going to kick in, because I asked the customer that if when he powered it up, if he noticed that click of the relay, and he didn't. So we have the relay. So I'm going to monitor things for a while, and then I will come back and we'll move forward from there. So we've been sitting on the current limiter for a while now, not a single hiccup. That's what I like to see. And I have some DMM probes hooked up to the speaker routes, even though I'm not going to be hooking up any speakers to this at this point anyways. But I just want to monitor what the DC balance is you know, looking like. And let's go ahead and zoom up here to these meters. And let's see here. So good enough. So these two meters here, our right channel we have 38.2, 0.3, whatever millivolts. Our left 151.2, 0.3, whatever, dancing around a little bit. And the left is getting a bit up there, but you know, anyways, I'll get that tamed down. 151 millivolts, that's not going to fry a speaker coil, a voice coil, but you know, anyways, you can see the difference between the two. And I will bring these down. We want these as close to zero as we can get them, of course. Let me go ahead and get the preamp out jumper to the main amp in, and get a signal in it, and take a look at the scope and see what we have. Okay, so here we are. Over here I have a 1 kilohertz tone. Leaving the signal generator there, entering the auxiliary in, and that's really all I'm going to do, because my objective is just to validate the customer's chief complaint as far as determining whether or not there is any output. As we saw earlier, those jumpers were removed from the back, and I am almost certain that that's the problem. But anyways, I have the scope probes hooked up to the outputs. I have this receiver terminating into an 8 ohm dummy load, and let's go ahead and zip on over here to the scope and get zoomed on in. I have both channels laying on top of each other, so I can gauge the symmetry of both channels. And let's see what we have going here. Yeah, as you can see, we do have some asymmetry. Okay, let me keep going here. Okay, we're clipping right there. All right, and that's really all I wanted to verify. So the waveforms, other than the asymmetry, looked fine. Let me zoom back out. So as I figured to be the case, once I discovered that those jumpers were removed around back, I figured we would have output unless something else was going on. So at least we know that these amp sections here, both channels, are looking okay, other than, like I said, a little asymmetry as we witnessed there. But you know, we still need to go through and perform some adjustments and whatnot. When I talk to the customer and let him know what's going on and what I recommend as far as recapping is concerned, and if he wants to go all the way with that, depending on what he wants to do, that's going to, of course, determine whether or not I'm going to get into, you know, more diagnostics and all that, and put a little bit more time into this. But I just wanted to do this initial evaluation and see where we were there. But of course, as I go through it more, if I'm given the green light and start going into some more testing of the inputs and see how our phono preamp is looking and so forth, in our tuner section and what's going on there, I'm sure this thing will probably be all right. You never know, but you know, we'll see if there's anything else other than recapping that needs to go on as far as any noisy transistors, leaky transistors, and so forth. But again, that's for another time. I have a lot of equipment ahead of this, and you know, the customer knows that, but I at least wanted to get this initial evaluation done before I shelve it again. And then I'll start preparing as time moves forward. You know, I'll start getting all the caps together and whatever I'm going to have to do, and dive into it deeper. So that's where we are, guys. And like I always say, peace, love, and music. So with that being said, till next time, you guys take care of yourselves and stay tuned.
This is a poor man's shoe production.